Today we bring our questions. We bring our hard truths. We bring the things that we're angry about. We bring the things that hurt us. And we thank you that we can come to you honestly, boldly, but most of all as your sons. I pray that the grace of God and the communion of the Holy Spirit will be with us. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right. Really quick, I'm interested to know what superhero, what's the name of your superhero? And what superpower does that superhero have? All right. So anyone want to start off? There we go. I want to make sure. There we go.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my name is Ty.
Your superhero name.
My superhero name is Vision. The superpower would be if I can see it, then I can do it or I can be it for that one. So yeah.
All right, pass it on.
My name is Juan. My superhero name would be the Real Hood Therapist. And my superpower would be able to heal fathers and men.
Okay. And so just give us your superhero name.
Okay.
Keep your legal name to yourself.
My superhero name is Valor, with the powers of thick skin and telekinesis.
My superhero name is Afterglow, and my superhero powers are immense light and elements.
My superhero name is Pro, and I'm a mind reader.
Sensei, I have all the answers.
X-ray, I see through people in their mask and I bring them healing.
Thundercat, I have the ability to disappear.
Thinking Man, the ability to be present.
Typhoon, still looking for my superpower.
Lighthouse, healing, invisibility, and flight.
The Initiator, the one that awakened what's dormant in you.
Effecto, I have the ability to influence emotional state.
Superman, compassion.
Mr. Incredible, strength.
Jesus, the Word of God.
Sumo, invisibility.
Mr. Him, confidence.
Iron Man, the comeback.
Thunder, flight.
Ron, stoppable, because I'm unstoppable.
I didn't write it down. I would say healer and the power to heal.
I'm Griff and I'm awesome, but I made Griff, my real name ain't Griff, my last name is Griffin, and I made this character Griff when I was a kid that would be this very unstoppable force. So I'm a superhero in my mind. Oh, the back row.
The Gatherer, bringing people together. Family man, powerful energy.
Mr. Help, happy people.
So I'm curious to know why that superhero and why that superpower.
I think for me, throughout my whole life, I've had like limitations placed on me from labels, identities, etc. And so the concept or idea of unstoppable is an identity that I've given myself that allows me, frees me to do and be whatever I want to be.
I'd say for me,
as a thinking man, I believe all prospects begin with your thought. As a man thinketh. And as far as my superpower, I believe that presence does more than communication. Showing up for people sometimes can change the entire dynamic of their circumstance. So showing up, presence is powerful.
Mine is Mr. Him because for worthiness. And it's a reminder that I am worthy, and confidence is my superpower because that's what I want to have. Well, I have, continue to have.
Mine is family, man. Because it wasn't no family with me coming up, so I feel as though that I can keep that together instead of being all scattered around like my family was. It wasn't no combining together.
Go ahead.
Mine is Mr. Happen because I found that I've covered up so much trauma and tried to make up so much trauma. Cover up so much trauma and tried to hide the trauma by just trying to help as many people as I can and never really reflecting on how much help I needed.
I think I made up the Thundercat deal because most people know that when cats are faced with a situation, they immediately move out of the situation. And I think the disappear situation is when, because by nature, I'm a person that always seeks to help. I find people projects to fix. And because I'm a fixer, sometimes instead of fixing it, I can just remove myself from it and it can be over.
For me, the name Sumo. Thank you. For me, the name Sumo came about because when you think of sumo, you think of someone with strength and power. And growing up, I've always been the big boy on the block to where people would come to me looking for solutions that I never had the opportunity nor the chance to go to someone else and look for a resource or solution. And then my superpower, I would want to have invisibility. Why? Because it would allow me that moment to sit back and actually hear, listen, and learn.
So mine is vision because growing up, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, wanted to be in life. I was on the path of what I say, greatness for me. Along the way, made mistakes and it fell off completely, like rock bottom completely, and I lost sight of everything. Just recently, I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I gotta stop being mad at myself and saying that what I did was the end all be all, and I now see like whatever I want to do in life, I can do it. So if I believe it, if I see it, like, it will be done.
So for me, the real hood therapist is who I've been my whole life. I'm a project baby. I've seen all trauma. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life. And, you know, growing up in the hood, like, as projects, like, we didn't go to counseling. We self-medicated. We did everything that we possibly could to darn near kill ourselves without dying. But for me and my friends, they all said all our lives, like, anytime we had a problem, we would come to you. Like, they would sit on my couch or lay in my bed and be like, yo, I need you to help me work through the situation. I knew more about all of the families that I grew up with than anybody. You know, and as I got older, I went to school, became a therapist, and they said, like, that was your path in life normally. You didn't see it when we was younger, but we all saw it for you. So my whole thing is going back into the hood and giving the hood people who need the therapy a person that looks like them with a lived experience to help them.
So, Effecto, oftentimes emotional intelligence is overlooked as a vital component of human development. many times irrational decisions are made in heated emotional states. So having the ability to regulate those emotions could in turn possibly prevent some traumatic experiences from happening.
That's good.
Said lighthouse and healing, mainly because I would want the ability to be able to heal people's situations. If it's somebody sick, if it's, whatever, I kind of tend to do some of that anyway, but not the ability to actually, like, if somebody's actually dying of cancer or something like that, I'd like to be able to come and change that. That's all I got. Everybody else?
I chose the name Thunder. As a kid, I was told I was too much. And like thunder, it was startling, caught you by surprise. And so it was something I'd never felt like I could escape from. That you'll always be too much. You're too loud, you're too volatile, whatever it is. And the superpower for flight was, I used to have dreams as a kid that I could escape the concept of being too much in the sky. And so if I could fly, then perhaps I wouldn't be too much for someone. And that was always, that was my kind of thing and where that came from. Yeah.
So I chose Iron Man, and the superpower is the comeback. It's mostly because if you watch every Avenger movie, whenever they failed, the next movie was the comeback. He will make the suits better the next movie. And then it intrigued me, the real life story about Robert Downey Jr. He went to jail and he made the comeback that everybody wants, from being in jail or whatever situation they might go through. That we all love comebacks. So this is my comeback. My book is my comeback. My comeback from sexual trauma, abuse. This is my comeback.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like 4 people.
Brothers, y'all can come on.
Y'all can come sit down.
Come on.
Y'all good.
There you
Y'all
go.
not interrupting.
Just grab a seat. There you go, bro. Any seat. Any seat.
Yep.
Come on. There you go. Robert. Yes. All right. So you want to do the...
So, good afternoon, good morning. It's still good morning. We got like 11 more minutes. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay. And so, I guess just a temperature check real quickly. And I hate almost asking a temperature check because almost when you ask someone in public, how are you feeling? You just unconsciously sometimes we train each other to lie.
Right.
Because what if you don't feel good, right? Like what if you actually don't feel okay in the space or in the moment? Do you really actually have the opportunity to say out loud, well, 30 people feel good, but I don't, and not feel awkward about that? But we're all here, right? Right. I'm just checking the temperature that way. We're all here. We're all here. And so as we get ready to journey in this, and you'll hear several people kind of speak into this, the hardest to make a space safe. And even as Robert mentioned, a lot of times spaces, safety is something that you create and you almost have to continue to create as things are happening, are moving. And so even in this moment, I'm so excited to be here with these brothers because my hope is that as we are in a space together, that something may happen. I have an expectation, but not quite an agenda. Because the end goal may not necessarily look like the way you might perceive. Sometimes when you have a particular picture in your mind, of how something is supposed to go, you might miss the opportunity of the journey you're on. And so as there's so many journeys in this room, as I've saw different brothers and different folks come in, as I'm reflecting even on my journey in the room, I'm so intrigued to see where this journey will take us just today. And so before we begin, my hope, and you'll hear these words repeated over and over, is that you feel seen, is that you feel heard, because that's how the safety begins to be established. And many times for us as men, we don't say the word safe. We say the word respect. We say the word appreciated. We say the word validated. And so I want to invite you, and this is something I have to consciously remind myself in this moment, is it's impossible to talk about our stories without engaging the facets of who we are. And there's a particular part of you that if you feel comfortable enough to engage, I think he would love to be present in the space, and it's the little boy inside. When I was getting ready for today, I could not help, and I'm going to be done after I say this, many times when I just think of trauma and abuse, I'm also a trauma survivor. It's what was the catalyst of my heart to go into this line of stuff. But I often think my father was a construction worker who worked and got paid on Thursdays at 4 p.m. He would get paid cash. And every week, my papa would tell me when the weekend comes, he's going to take me to go play baseball and take me to the park. And, for a long time, every week would come and something would come up each time that for some reason we could not go. And I went from being a child to being a teenager to being an adult to then living on my own to then starting a family. And it was so funny, I shared with Robert, I said, it has been over 25 years and I'm still waiting to go to the park. I'm still waiting. And I cannot help but consider that when I talk about my story, because that Trey is who's been affected, who's navigating. And so I want to invite you to allow your person, whatever his name is, Trey was mine, Thunder is how he operated, and the wish to fly away. And that's who's here today. I think if you engage that, I think some pretty cool things could happen in this space together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, come on. No, come on. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. So I want to throw out this first question. Everybody take a deep breath. Everybody, let's sit up in your chair. Why are y'all avoiding this first row? I need some of y'all to come sit in this first row. Come on, guys.
We don't bite.
Somebody gonna sit in the front row? We got 3 chairs.
Robert does. You must.
All right.
Welcome, brother.
There we go.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Come on. There's another one. Speak for yourself. There we go. Thank you. There's another one. All right. So, this is the action. So, I'm going to ask this first question and let it breathe before we answer it, okay? Growing up, the emotion I felt the most but didn't have the language for was what? I'm gonna say, and this is a one-word answer, no explanation. We're going to move the microphone around the circle, okay? So now we're going to start moving in a circular motion. And I'm going to ask the question again. Growing up, and I'm trying to get to, I'm already feeling some type of way.
Yeah.
I'm already feeling some type of way. Before I say this, my superhero was healer. And because I wanted somebody to see me. And I could not figure out how a little boy could be so broken, be so hurt, be so taken advantage of, and nobody saw it. And so I quickly learned how to keep secrets. I quickly learned the art of manipulation and lying, compulsive lying, to hide the truth. And more than anything now, I want to be the person that I never had. Not just as a little boy, but even as a grown man with a wife, with 3 kids, and sometimes still wishing somebody would come save me for when I don't know what to do. And the first person who saw me, and I'm glad that she's here today because I never get a chance to acknowledge her. Lorraine, can you lift up your hands? Lorraine, whew, I'm normally good at this. Lorraine was the first person, beyond the titles, beyond the performance, was like, hey, I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know when to talk to you about it. And from there to now, here I am. So my superpower is a healer because I'm committed to being what I never had. I want to ask you guys this question. Growing up, the emotion I felt the most but didn't have language for was what? One word, no explanation, and we'll move quickly around the circle. And after your brothers say what that feeling is, we want to thank them, okay? Because this room already knows your story.
Can you one more time with the question?
Growing up, the emotion I felt the most but didn't have language for was what? One word.
It's hard to put it in one word. I guess lost. Lost.
Thank you.
One more time with the question. Fear. That's what mine was.
Thank you.
How about that?
Loneliness.
Shame.
Shame.
Anxiety.
Fear.
Love.
Unseen.
Anxiety.
Invisible.
Pressure.
Outcast.
Anxiety.
Unseen.
Fatherlessness.
Depression.
Confused.
Disappointment.
Fear.
Anger.
Misunderstood.
Lonely.
Disappointment.
Lost.
Black sheep.
Say it again.
Black sheep.
No guidance.
Anxiety.
Now that you said it, how did that feeling make you feel? And And you can explain.
Yeah, so I actually said lost, but he said it better. It was misunderstood. That's more of an appropriate word. Knowing who I am now today, when I go and speak to people, I know as a kid, everybody around me saw this like troublemaker, talker, fighter, emotional, angry kid, and they just didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. So you have people that come into school, pep rallies, talks, motivational speakers. They come in and they tell you this thing, and you can be all these things. You can achieve what you want to achieve, believe in yourself. You have all these great dreams. And I was one of the few kids who sat in that audience like, you have no idea who you're talking to. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like where I'm coming from. Because they never shared anything about themselves that was relatable. So I always felt misunderstood. I think that's like the biggest thing for me. Not understanding, people didn't understand, even after the fact of reporting the abuse and now even being a grown man and talking about it in a public space.
If you don't mind me, what abuse?
Everything. Physical abuse from my mom, drugs, violence, fatherlessness, the sexual abuse from when I was 5 from another man. And then, from the time I was 10 until 16, I was sexually abused by another man almost every single weekend. And it was, a violent place, not a good place for a boy or for anybody really. But so that misunderstanding is everybody looking at me, just not understanding who I was, where I was coming from. Another big one that's kind of funny in here, I think about because of the demographic of the room. I grew up in a predominantly black community, and so then I went out to the country. My grandparents adopted me when I was 12, and so then I went out to the country, and I'm in a school, K through 12. There was about 1,000 kids. There were 2 black kids in the school, nothing but white kids. Complete culture shock for me. So another place of misunderstanding again. And the 2 black kids, they were adopted from the city, just like I was. So I went out there and they called me the racial slurs, which was crazy. So just even when I had moved out to a new place where you grew up in an inner city, there's nothing but trauma just everywhere you go. Out in the country, all these kids drove nice cars, had Mustangs, mom and dad at home, all the things. I showed up, I was the new kid on the block. Very angry, very misunderstood, right? So, with just everything that was going on. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to explain?
Mine was fear, and my father was a Marine drill instructor, very abusive to the women, to the kids. My dad been married 5 times. My mom been married 9 times. So as a child, I saw nothing but rage and anger and dysfunction. I was molested by a female babysitter when I was probably 4 and a half. So it made me very curious of sex way too early as a kid. And I was very popular at school, although I was being beat at home. I went to 21 different schools growing up. I was the most popular class clown, funny, but I was dying at home. Yep. And when I say fear, I was just a scared kid, man. That was just pretending my whole life.
I can relate with a lot of that. That's good.
I said anxiety because anxiety was actually more of a result of abandonment that kind of I carried throughout the years, where it got to the point to where I would have like anxiety attacks and panic attacks and things of that nature. And that really stems from just the childhood of, I was in elementary school basically taking care of myself. So I became very cold. And my expectation, even to this day, I have to kind of fight it. My expectation of people is that they're not going to be around for long, you know? And so, yeah.
Mine was guidance, because I didn't know what that meant. Like, far as in coming up, I was guiding myself. No father, kind of what y'all guys said, had people watching me that was touching me. So you like, well, which way I'm supposed to go? And as I got older, the women I was messing with was abusive. So it was like the tables were turned. Like, you want to argue, you want to fight. But me just growing up and having to raise myself, so you looking around trying to figure out what to do, but you didn't have no man guidance, so you was your own man. I got 3 other brothers that I'm raising at 10. So I'd had no childhood. My childhood was being an adult. So being an adult at 11 and 10 years old, you don't have no reason. You can't even enjoy going outside having fun because you gotta make sure your brothers eat. Gotta make sure you eat. Then my mom, drugs, messing with men that's abusive. So I'm trying to figure out which way to go. So as you get older, you like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure this is done. I'm gonna make sure this is done. But you still need that. It's still in the back of your head that I had no guidance nowhere. Like going to school, you was by yourself. Coming home, you was by yourself. Playing, you almost by yourself because everybody that go in the house got a family. I go in the house, I gotta watch 15 people in there getting high. So it was hard, like coming up, like you really literally had to raise yourself. And coming from a city where I came from is worse. You know what I mean? I come from Philly and it's terrible. Like you literally raised yourself out there. So that's why mine is guidance. So I had to guide myself.
Mine was Black Sheep because my mom, we was homeless my whole life. Like my mom had 5 kids, really 6, but one of them passed. But we was homeless out of Jacksonville my whole life, and but my mom had 9 sisters and brothers and my grandmother, and my grandmother took all the family took the rest of the kids. I had seizures, so nobody took me. I had to stay with my mom, and we walked the streets. We lived in cars. We walked the streets ever since I can remember, and I've been in cars while cars being repossessed. While we sleep in the car and they jacking the car up to repossess it, cause the one just fogged up, can't see us in there. So my mom was a crack addict for 30 years. I mean, bad. Sleeping with men, I had to sit there and watch her giving me a head, sleeping with her own daddy to get money, and just so we could have somewhere to lay our head that night in the hotel. At the age of 13, I decided that I was going to go and live in a park because I got tired of walking to crack house to crack house. So I stayed in a park in Jacksonville for 3 years, from 13 to 16 in a baseball field dugout. So I slept in a little bench, and my mom was just out running, doing whatever. My aunties was evil. If they allowed you to stay there, you couldn't use the bathroom. You had to go to the gas station, use the bathroom. They'll take the light bulb out the room, so I couldn't. So I just decided that if I'm gonna live like this, I might as well just live in the park. So I lived in the park for 3 years, from 13 to 16 years old, and Black Sheep came for me because I felt like I failed at everything. I couldn't win at anything. So as I got older, and everything I put my hand to, I tried to overachieve to prove not only to my aunties and stuff that I was a winner in spite of what they called me. Because sometimes people will take what you come from and label it on you. My mom was a loser, my dad was a loser, so they automatically told us because we came from them that we could never be anything. So I moved to Georgia with not knowing nobody, got off the Greyhound with 35 cents in my pocket at 19 and told myself that I was going to make it and I wasn't going back. So I just wanted to not be the ugly duckling anymore. And that's why I use Black Sheep.
Thank you.
Question was, what emotion did you feel as a child that you didn't have the language to communicate? Mine was love. When I was 7 years old, my mother took my life. She cracked me over my head, and I died. And then when I regained consciousness, blood was everywhere, and I knew that my life was changed from that point in time. She continued to abuse me all throughout my life until I was 15 when she kicked me out. I had so much love to give, but my mother's abuse would push that love back inside. So every time I tried to be affectionate, she would be aggressive towards me. So that would then manifest into my relationships when I started to become curious with sexual intercourse, where any woman that would try to love me, I would not allow them to love me because my heart would be cold and blackened because my mother taught me not how to embrace love. So actually the love that I was feeling, I did not really understand what it was and how to communicate that language to anyone else. So I chose to be violent. I chose to be protective of myself, and that led to divorces and breakups and multiple children, different women and things of that nature. And it wasn't until that I met the Lord that I actually identified with love and what love is and the source of love and how to communicate that, so that the behavior that I was mistreating women with when I met my wife as a follower of Jesus, a woman that was raped by her father and impregnated, for the first time I understood how to love a woman and then help her heal of her sexual abuse that she suffered from her father. And now that woman today looks nothing like the woman that I met when I met her. So that was my word.
Before we go to the next one, can we sit up in our chairs, take a deep breath? Ready? I know it's heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy. It is heavy, but here's the truth. We've been carrying this anyway. Now it's just the acknowledgement that you've been carrying it. So when you take this deep breath, know that you're not weak. You're not effeminate for talking about it. You're actually stronger than what you realize. Because you've been carrying it the whole time. Working, carrying it. Kids, carrying it. School, carrying it. Preaching, carrying it. Working, carrying it. But now we see you. And here's the thing. You don't have to carry it alone anymore. Let's take a deep breath. There we go. Yes, sir.
So for me, the word that I chose was disappointment. And growing up, my father was a pastor. He's passed now. And my parents were married for 43 years before he passed. And they had 7 children together, with myself being the youngest. And we grew up in the same household. And I was a disappointment. I was disappointed in the family because I was molested at the age of 8 by a cousin in the family. And at first I didn't know, because of how young I was, that it was not okay. And it continued to happen. And then I noticed that it started happening to a lot of the younger cousins as I grew older. And my father passed, and I wanted to communicate it. So I told my grandmother, and I remember her strict as day. She slapped me, and she said, "Boy, shut up. You don't know who your father was?" And it was at that moment that I was silenced. I didn't have a voice. I wasn't able to communicate that. She said, "If I ever hear you say that again, something is going to happen to you." And it fills you with so many emotions on the inside, because these are traumas that you cannot explain. If you tried to explain it, you were threatened by someone that said that they loved you tremendously and really did show that type of love and care, but because they wanted to protect an image of who you were connected or where you came from, they silenced your voice.
Wait a minute. Something just happened there. You said they wanted to do what now?
Protect their image.
By show of hands, how many of you have stayed quiet because of protecting an image? I'm gonna ask again. By show of hands, how many of us have stayed silent trying to protect an image? By show of hands, how many of us experience hurt and abuse by the hands of people who said they loved us? If we're honest, how many of us are still navigating the complexities of our feelings towards the people that hurt us? Take a deep breath. I want you to look around the room. Please keep your hands up, please. Neiko, what are you feeling? What?
Very similar story to you.
Yes,
it was I'm mic'd up. Very similar story to the gentleman before me. In my book, I shared that I was molested by a cousin, a male cousin, for years, who I thought loved me, and for years, my family grew up really close, really tight. My grandparents had 6 kids, 5 girls, 1 boy. We would do Sunday dinners all the time, all the things, and I felt like, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, that, you kind of, I felt shame. That was my word earlier. I felt shame. And I felt like I couldn't share because I didn't want to ruffle the family. Mm. I didn't want to cause the ripple effect. And then I didn't feel like nobody believed me either, because I was 7 years old. And so I carried mine for a long time, long time. So yeah, that's, so I definitely know how you feel, brother.
So I was molested by one of my sisters when I was between the ages of 4 and 6, and I didn't know what shame was. I know I was feeling something, and then I was molested by 2 of my neighbors. And when I finally decided to speak and reach out for help to a youth pastor, he became my 4th abuser. Mm. So between the ages of 4 through I was a teenager, I was basically abused, and I was protecting an image because as a Hispanic, the culture is like, you fake it and you don't talk about it. Plus, my family, I was basically born and raised in church. Shame came from my culture, but also from the church. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that image thing, you really hit on something. I still actually am dealing with a situation tied to image protection and things of that nature right now. So, as I mentioned, abandonment. As a child, I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. At the early age, having a father who was on drugs, living in a crack house, seeing drive-by shootings, my brother getting shot because my father owed drug dealers money, all of these different things. We had cocktail bombs thrown at our house where they were planning to kill us, all the children. And you see all of these things, and I'm so young where I don't understand the weight and the gravity of everything that's taking place. So that trauma, as I mentioned, I became numb to it. I became cold to it. It's just what I expected, And later on, I moved to Florida with my grandparents and with my uncle, where my uncle was verbally abusive and emotionally abusive. So you go from one extreme to the other, and I'm being developed dealing with so much trauma. So fast forward to, I'm in my 30s, 2020. I come to the realization through science that that father that I was mentioning about earlier who was on drugs, he wasn't my father, right? And my mom had been lying to me about it the whole entire time. Who's a missionary in Kojic, you know, protecting the image. And she's giving everybody in the church what she never gave her children, you know, protecting the brand and being willing to cut off her family to protect the image, you know, things of that nature. So like I can really, really relate to it. I'm in a lot more peaceful place with the situation, but I can relate to that, and I'm still relating to that. And ultimately what helped me is just realizing that you can only do what you can do, get help for yourself, and realize that people are just gonna be people. And in some ways you have to lower your expectations, you know, and that's helped me a lot through counseling and things of that nature. But it's still something I'm navigating, that basically the man that I thought raised me is not my father. And then when I found out who my father is, the families have been close the entire time. I knew the family, just didn't know I was related to them, things of that nature. And yeah, but on the flip side, I have met some of those family members, so there's been some good that has come from it, but it's been a very, very interesting process, to say the least.
Anybody else? Right here. I'm already mic'd up. Oh, hold on. Oh, you want to answer that?
Obviously, I relate to the young man as well because I'm a PK kid. I was molested by my sister growing up at the age of 7 years old. And you talk about the image, protecting the image. Sometimes we don't realize that we protect the image so much that our life become the mask that we carry so much, and that we allow circumstances to hinder us. And I know for myself that because I was hurt and damaged so much, I became the very thing that I was trying to hide from. I masked it so well that I didn't know how to hide the scars. And so in ministry, and I'm a pastor too, so you get in ministry and you think that you're hiding the scars and hiding the trauma. You're not really hiding it, because it's still there, and it shows up in your message, it shows up in your language, it shows up in everything that you do. And sometimes you gotta get to the point where you got to be honest with yourself. And I wrote a book called Honestly Unmasking the Truth. And so when I start unmasking the very thing, I begin to realize, who am I as variant? Who am I as the real person? And I'm getting to deal with the very essence of what's going on in my life, and I'm able to speak to those things. Even though my family is still living, I was still able to write to it to let them know that you couldn't shut me up this time. This time I'm able to speak out with my whole heart and go from there. So sometimes we got to remove the mask off ourselves, not because they put it on us, but sometimes we put it on ourselves too.
That's good.
Yeah, I almost sometimes feel like I don't really have much to say, because growing up, I wasn't molested. I had an amazing father, amazing mother. I went through a crazy divorce, but in general, I didn't really face heavy trauma until I was an adult. It was, and part of it, there was some trauma from the standpoint of my mom was horrible with finances. So at 15, 16 years old, I was working and paying the bills and putting apartments in my name and running everything and making sure stuff got paid for and budgets were made and all that stuff. And at one point later on in life, I kind of resented it. She and I had a conversation about it, because I felt like I literally did a lot of things that I had to do at 15 that other people wouldn't have had to do. I had to run this and lead this and be the man of the house and all that. But loving parents, all that. I actually was introduced to church at 16. I'd never been to church before until I was 16 years old. Got a relationship with Christ. I took it very seriously. And it wasn't until I moved to LA, I was probably around 20 years old or so, and I started going to some churches there. And when I got involved in church, and I was known for, oh, this guy can do anything and get you anything and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of got sucked into the church world. And then I started being manipulated by pastors. And that's what shocked me. I didn't know that was a thing. I came from a place that when I was introduced to church, the pastor I had was great, a high integrity level. And then you have these pastors say, oh, I love you, and this, that, and the other, and you're my spiritual son. And you're like, okay, I'll do anything, whatever you need. And then just through those processes, I lost money. You find out, because they're protecting images and whatever, if you find out too much or too much, then they'll try to character assassinate you to make sure you don't say something about them. And that's actually what I've dealt with. Most of the trauma has come from that direction. And I deal with stuff to this day with different people, and it's always been me doing something to bless the person and do something, but it's like, oh, wait a minute, you said no this time, or you didn't do it this time the way I wanted you to do it, so now I have to say things before you say something about me. So I've dealt with those kind of things, and then you just start realizing, and I think that's why I use the word lonely. You start realizing that a lot of people that are in front of you who say how much they love you and how much they like you, they really don't like you at all. They're just there for what they can get from you, until they realize that you don't say no. Once you say no, or you can't do it for whatever reason, and they realize, well, I can't get from you what I want, then all of a sudden that narrative changes. And so that's really been, from my ex-wife to, even my first marriage was a marriage that my ex literally, it was a very abusive marriage. I didn't even know I was being abused, because abuse to me was always some kind of physical thing. Somebody got molested, because I'm like, that's serious stuff. Like when I hear that, I'm like, that's some major stuff. So my little stuff of my wife calling me ugly, or my wife doing such and such, or my wife, I never processed it as being abused, or silent treatments for 3 weeks and all that kind of stuff. I didn't think that was abusive. But I've learned as I got older and got into it after a 13-year marriage, obviously it was abusive, and it took a friend of mine to tell me that. But at any rate, I just wanted to basically share my story and say that, abuse comes in all forms, trauma comes in all forms. And I've had to even learn to speak about that, because I always feel like my stuff isn't that serious. I'm like, but as I've gone through and seen that, I learned that I was the kind of person that liked to be liked. Right. I didn't want people to say negative things or whatever, and now I'm just like over it, so it's like, hey, I know what my intentions were, and that type of thing. But that took a lot of building my relationship with Christ and understand who God said I am versus what people have to say, because you can't always go by what people say. So that was what I wanted to share.
Okay. Everybody, can you take a deep breath? Really quick, popcorn style. One word. How you feel right now? How do you feel? Anybody?
Tense.
Tense.
Intense.
Intense. What else? Safe. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm having anxieties, and I don't even have anxieties. Like I just text, my wife is behind me, and I'm like, I gotta go. My heart is beating. This is a lot. Like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yup.
I'll say
overwhelmed.
Yeah. Grateful.
Yeah, no, we're about to do that now. Yeah. I want to invite everyone. We're going to take a break, but I don't want to leave out like this. And we also have therapists in the room. So we have certified therapists that are in the room that can lead you through some grounding exercises that also can provide levels of care. We have Jovan. Lift up your hands if you don't mind. He's a therapist. Trey is a therapist. We have a therapist here, advocate here, and advocate here. So we have support. Yeah.
Can I say something whenever you're done? I just want to say one thing real quick.
And brothers, I know this is a lot, but Griff and everybody else, you're not by yourself this time.
Come on.
I want y'all to hear me. Can you, if you don't mind, if you're okay, can you put your hand on your brother's shoulder, if you don't mind? And I don't just want you to put your hand on his shoulder, but I want you to feel his energy. Some of us, we're afraid, we're triggered, we're hurt, and we typically, when we experience these traumas, we normally either fight, we freeze up, we run. But what if I told you on the other side of that pain is victory? On the other side of that pain, I'm not talking about church victory. What if I told you on the other side of what you're experiencing right now is the healing that you always deserved? And I want to start off and also say this. I wasn't there, and neither any of us was ever there for what happened to you or what you experienced by yourself. But for some reason, God has called you into this room to deal with the monsters that we've been afraid of. I invite you to take a deep breath. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to run anymore. You have brothers that are here to walk with you. More than anything, you don't have to pretend anymore.
Yeah.
Trey, did you want to add to that?
Just the concept of anymore. Is allow yourself, specifically to that word, allow yourself. As some of you have already mentioned, and as others have that you didn't mention, but you can identify, you can feel it, right? You can allow yourself to hold the tension between hope and tragedy. That, and I heard someone say this earlier, I think in the middle of like socializing, someone said two things can be true at the same time. And allow that truth to exist. Just naturally as people, there is a tendency for us to like, if this is true or this is true. And it becomes either or. And that's, there's a reason behind that, but we don't have to get into that right now. Just allow the tension. And I know, as Robert is always asking me to take a deep breath, because a part of that is giving you the permission to hold the tension between frustration and expectation and being heard. Some of you is your first time saying this in a public space. Some of you is your umpteenth time saying it, and you feel the feeling like you did like the very first time, and that's all of that is okay. As one of the brothers mentioned, hey, I may not feel like my story is important. No. Every detail is important. Every sentence. And so just allowing yourself to exist, because you have a right to say what you're saying, to share the world through your eyes, and that there's camaraderie in that. And even if it's a lot, that's okay. It's okay, but it's a lot. And we'll talk about some of that. So, yeah.
All right, let's take a break. If you need to speak to a therapist, can you lift up your hands? An advocate, a counselor, they're here, right here. All right? If you need to get fresh air, that's okay too. There's drinks, there's food if you need to use the restroom. But please, I'm going to ask, please, if you can, please stay for this next part, okay?
Brother Seth has to
Yes,
say
go ahead, Seth. Yeah, go ahead.
I should have let you finish, man, because you took the words right out of my mouth. I don't feel the pain as much when I talk about it, man, but when I hear some of these other guys saying these things, I can remember myself. I can remember my friends. I can remember my childhood so much more hearing a lot of these other guys talk about some of these things. And like I said, I don't feel so much for myself anymore, but I feel for y'all, truly. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard to sit in here, and all the last thing I'm gonna say is when you feel that thing is telling you to get up out of here and run, that's the obstacle you need to climb. I tell everybody that's your mountain. That's the mountain that you got to get through, and this is it. This is it right here. This is a mountain that we're gonna climb, and you're gonna feel a hell of a lot better getting through it than running from it.
I'm gonna say this, everyone, and then we're gonna take a break. You see the yellow tape, the yellow caution tape? If you can, just hold it really quick. Hold it. Here you go. Griff, can I get this to you? Yeah. All right. And then we're going to take a break. Yeah, we have others. As men, we go through life carrying caution tape on our emotions. Don't touch it. Don't deal with it. Don't go there. And I want you to look at that caution tape, please. Many of us, the caution tape that's been wrapped around our lives, we didn't put it there. Our communities put it there. Our parents put it there. So for some of us, the church put it there. But today, you get to choose what you do with it. Mm-hmm. Hear me. And I want you to say these words with me. I get to choose.
I get to choose.
I know, say it, and I need you to close your eyes. And I want you to speak to the little boy in you. I get to choose.
I get to choose.
It was not your fault what happened to you. And it may be your responsibility to deal with it. But in this room, you don't have to deal with it alone. And you get to choose what you do and how you maneuver. All right? Let's take a couple minutes. And if you need to see a counselor, a therapist, a traumatologist, we're here. All right? We got you. If you need a break, you need to go outside, that's fine.